Welcome to IM Radio. I'm Randy Harrington.
And I'm Carmen Valake.
We have the opportunity to be in and out of a lot of organizations around America, and there are a couple of themes. Change is a big theme,
Yes.
Business consolidation is a theme, but one of the things that people are constantly bringing up is the conundrum of working with young people.
Absolutely. In fact, really working with 4 generations right now in the workforce. We haven't seen that happen to the degree that it's happening.
I was going to say, and the young people are asking me about the old people.
Yes.
It is both. It's coming from both sides.
It is.
And I'm in the middle, and I have no idea what to say to these people. But I do know enough to know that we know some things.
We do know some things. In fact, there are some things we can depend on. One is that personal and professional are blending in the workplace more than ever before. Work is coming home with us. People are banking online, doing those things at work.
And so we really can't get away from it, and it's almost ridiculous to think that
it's
somehow
only going to become more blended.
Right.
It's very
Probably
difficult
not very
for our younger generations as the untethered worker is rising. And the untethered worker, I mean these people that we see at coffee shops with laptops. I just dropped my daughter off at work this morning, and I went to a coffee shop next door, and there must be 30 people who call that their office. They're just there working every day. I go in there and get coffee in the morning, and I see the same people working there every day. And I know they're making more money than me. I don't know what they're doing, but it's becoming normal.
That's your point. They could be doing anything, though.
Right.
They could be running a multinational organization sitting in a
from the coffee shop.
Right, exactly.
Right. More and more people are going to have expectations that they can work in different ways.
Right. So one of the things we do know then is that because of technology and because of just the compression of generations in the workforce, this time that we're in, personal lives, professional lives are blurring, and they will continue to blur.
Yes, and it has to do with the younger generation coming in, but it also has to do with the technology and what mobile technology has done for our ability to be always online. And always available.
Right, and I can speak to the fact that the technology companies that we're working for are going to ensure that ability to be always online is going to be enhanced moving forward.
In fact, they have a name for it now, Work 2.0. And they're going to continue to facilitate more devices that allow people to work from anywhere all the time.
I mean, right now,
flexible.
we all do the thing looking for hotspots and whatnot to try and connect up wirelessly. But we're seeing whole communities that are have wireless access everywhere.
Eventually, you'll have wireless access for free all the time. It'll just be an expectation. So that has a profound impact on the nature of work and on the nature of consumer expectations as well. But that's
so from a consulting perspective, one of the things you might say is you're not crazy. You really are observing some profound transformations in the workplace.
You're absolutely not crazy. In fact, this is the most disruptive thing to happen to the workplace since women entered it in the 1930s and 40s.
Huh. Okay, so we're already seeing data that shows this really is a seismic kind of thing.
This is a transformative time. Work will never look the same. So it's actually an exciting time as well for the companies that get ahead of it.
I'm at that stage in my life where I still like to identify with younger generations. I'm really resisting the idea that I'm becoming one of them, one of the older generation. But I have to say, I have real trouble with the Gen Y age group. I really struggle as a manager, as somebody who's bringing them in. I just go, where are you coming from?
Well, and even as a Generation Xer myself, I struggle with the Generation Y. Generation Y is going to be the first generation that comes into the workforce that has no reference point for technology that wasn't always available all the time, this constant connection with people anywhere that you are. For example, I'll tell you a story. As a Generation Xer, I grew up in a time where phones were still attached to the wall. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I kind of vaguely remember that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, my daughter has no memory of anything like that. She, we have cell phones only in our house now. We have no landline, nothing. So we're operating off cell phones all the time, and that's all she's ever known. She's 6 now. But I remember even at 1 or 2, her in the back of the car and talking to Grandma from the back seat with the Bluetooth. And Grandma's voice would just fill the whole car like magic. And you can just talk to Grandma while you're driving down the road.
Right.
So, last year we were going through a car wash, and she points over to the side and she says, "Mom, what is that?" I look out, and it's a phone booth.
Ah, right.
And I struggled for how do I even begin to explain this to her? So I had to start. My opening line was, well, in a time before cell phones, and I had already lost her.
Inconceivable.
Yes. And so, we're looking at a generation that isn't going to understand why they have to be tied to the workplace as strictly as we have for decades.
So they really have a fundamentally different perception of what is possible in the world than what we have been raised with.
And one of the questions I get from people as well is why is everyone so obsessed with generations right now? Why is that any more important than anything else when you think about management?
Sure. I mean, when we talk about, for example, there are also, major changes in the diversity complexion in our culture, the number of white Americans, beginning to yield to other
especially
ethnic
as
groups.
Companies become global. I know that's and it's an important issue. It's something to be thinking about. But what we know about generations as a category is that generations are really defined by formative events that happen for people in their adolescent years. So that can be anything like war or depression or political events, things like the Monica Lewinsky event. Was very disruptive for Generation X and stopped trusting politicians. So you have things like September 11th is a big defining event for millennial generation. When we look at those formative events, they are strong enough to create a value set for every generation. And that set of values that's unique to whatever generation you're in is a more powerful indicator of your behavior at work and as a consumer than any other indicator. So
than say race or gender or age.
Race, gender, sexual orientation, education.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
Wow, because it means being a part of Generation X is a more important identifier of my value set and my behavior than being a woman, than being white.
Wow.
So this is big. And we have to pay attention to it.
Yeah, and so what I'm hearing, there's a little bit of a prescription in there too, because what you're saying is by being informed on what those core value sets are at each generational level, we're going to be able to adapt to the needs and demands and expectations of those workers a lot better.
Absolutely, and not just adapt, but predict. And I think the workplaces that do that are going to win.
Right, and it really, I'm already to a point where I'm feeling like, okay, I want to know this now, because I have a direct experience of running into the barrier of going, I don't have a clue where you're coming from on this. Where there's just this big impasse. My value set doesn't match their value set, and so we have to figure out a way to make that work.
And we have ways at Extreme Arts and Sciences that we can help you.
Well, yeah, I think but
I'm not going to give all my secrets away.
Okay, so that is something, though, that we can deliver that allows people to really understand it. What I believe you're doing is actually adapting to the demands of the individual work environment.
Well, the strength that Extreme Arts consultants bring to this is we are so grounded in technology, new technologies and new media and social media, and we bring all that knowledge as well as an eager desire to know what's going on in each individual business and understand that business. So the generational piece comes in layers on top of all of that. So we take all those things into account.
And I think that's good, but that's why I want to send you and not me, because I'm not sure I'm as dialed in on all of this stuff as maybe I need to be. I'm starting to feel like the old man around here. Hey, what's going on, you whippersnappers? It is amazing, though, isn't it? The world is changing.
It's changing fast.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I look forward to attending one of your sessions, figuring out these crazy people that work for me. To keep on learning about generations and every other crazy new thing in the world, join us next time on IM Radio.